All right, and we're back for the afternoon Black Friday live stream, all you snowboarders of the internet. In case you missed this morning's live stream, I answered a bunch of questions and nothing important really happened. That's it. Right now, we are dealing with a blizzard outside, just so everyone knows what's going on in Colorado. Utah just got it, California's getting it again. And we are going to dive into some questions really quick. Tote, New Hampshire. Hey, what's a good equivalent board to replace the Rome Mod Rocker? Love the board since it was discontinued. Thinking Captain Mercury or maybe Rome National. If you want something that's more like flat to rocker, it's going to be few and far between. A lot of places or a lot of companies have gone back to camber. I think if you're looking at Rome, the National is a good choice. The new Agent would probably be a little bit closer to it, even though it's that fusion camber. So it's camber with a little bit of rocker in it. It would ride closer to the Mod Rocker. The Mercury, not so much. I think either the Indoor Survival or Outer Space Living would be closer from Capita. So, yeah. Let's see. And the Big Bear Road Report. They are still closed, and now people are trapped and dying. They've resorted to cannibalism and satanic sacrifice in hopes that the California Department of Transportation will free the people. So if you're on your way to Big Bear, you're probably eating humans. It's very Donner Pass. All right. Let's see what else we got here. David asks, in honor of Turkey Day, can Kevin carve a turkey? God, I hope he carved a turkey. I don't know what he's doing right now. He said he was going to try to stop in for one of these live streams. So who knows? He could just be at home playing with his wiener. I don't know. All right. Jeremy Yapple. I'm from upstate New York, the state with the most ski areas and people that moved away from and make YouTube videos reviewing snowboards but are still New York butt waffles. Anywho, what board for New York ice carving? You want something with a camber and with at least some added edge grip to it. So I think if you're looking for carving on it, like maybe a Jones flagship, or you could even do like the Ultra flagship if you wanted something stiffer. Mervin, anything that's got C3 on it, so like a hot knife would be really good. The GNU Mueller, the Lib Swiss knife. What else is on there? You could even get away with an Eric Jackson knife. All right. Damian Jensen. Jones flagship or K2 Droid Driver for all-around free ride. The Droid Driver is like straight free ride. So if you're looking at K2, you'd probably want to bump down to a Manifest. Otherwise, I say the Jones flagship. All right. Bad Habibi. Hi there. Got a binding question. How much have they evolved in the last years? Would a 6-year-old Raiden Phantom still be okay today compared with current models or totally obsolete? So the 6-year-old Raiden Phantom, the big thing to check on that is to make sure that the disc on it isn't warped, because I think it was like 6 years ago. It might have been older than that. They came warped from the factory, so they didn't mount exactly correct and sit flush. I think the biggest difference you're going to see in the Phantom since then is an upgrade in materials, as well as they added canting to the binding. So I think it's like a 3-degree canting on there. Banana Pants. Weight ratings. Are they just a formula based on surface area? Some companies' ratings seem okay, but some are way off. Like if you're 230 pounds, you should be on a 170. They're completely made up for the most part. They're imaginary as fuck. It's a bunch of marketing people going, who can we market this to? And they sit around and come up with it. I mean, unless you got like a real engineer that designed something for its weight and the weighting and unweighting of the board based off the reference stance and everything to explain it, they're like a loose guideline more than anything. Like obviously, if you're heavier than the recommended weight, the board's going to flex more, and if you're lower than the recommended weight, it's going to be stiffer. You want to be somewhere in the middle, but yeah. All right. Let's see what else we got going here. All right, Banana Pants also asks, Marhar Lumberjack X or Ride Super Pig, or I already have a twin camber daily and a softer volume shift party board. Well, if you've already got a volume shifted party board and you got a twin camber, I don't think you need either of them. In all honesty, that's too much overlap. Why don't you go get yourself like a straight free ride board or something a little bit longer? Yeah. So hopefully that answers that. We're up to 51 people right now, and we're 5 minutes in. All right, let's see what else we got going here. Bottled and cork. Also, what the fuck is happening with the store? I'm refreshing. Think I'm gonna get the double XL coach's jacket. Why isn't it ready to sell? Oh yeah, I should probably turn that on right now, shouldn't I? Here, let me fix a few things right now. And active, save, saving, back to products. Yeah, so for anyone that's looking for merchandise, right now is probably the time to do it because it's a very limited run of stuff in the store. You can get it on angrysnowboarderstore.com. I am activating everything right now. Thanksgiving dinner went a little bit longer right before I came in here, so unfortunately everything is going active right now. I meant to have this done before I started, but because I know you guys want this stuff and you want it bad. So yeah, there you go. Everything is now active on angrysnowboarderstore.com. So if you are looking for merchandise, feel free to hop on, pick it up. There's limited runs in this hoodie, the Cardinal colorway, maroon coach's jacket, and the black coach's jacket. So there you go. Hopefully there. Ooh. John Ulmer, laid up with broken ribs from taking a rail to the ribs. This was his saving grace. Any thoughts on sandbox helmets? You got to make sure with sandbox. Some of them are rated as a helmet, and some of them are rated as a hard hat. A hard hat rating has a different certification than a helmet rating. I also think that they have really weird fits to them. Like they're like oval shaped almost. Every time I put them on, they just feel like oval shaped and weird. And the best helmet, obviously, is the one that fits your needs and will protect you. But make sure it's a helmet, not a hard hat. Ryan Cass with the $4.99 super chat. Now binding's worth it. Depends if that's what you're looking for. Skate Tech isn't for everyone. It's, you're going to have a little bit different power transmission with that hanger on there. So you're going to be like, when you go to drive into your toe, your heel lifts up and it puts more pressure into the toe edge. And same thing with the heel edge, like you're driving more into it. It's a little bit different of a ride, but I think it makes sense for anyone that likes power transmission through their bindings. It does work. I think they are worth it. So if you're looking at them, go check it out. All right. Nato the Potato just bought a coach's jacket as soon as it went live. Well, it makes me feel better about putting that stuff up right now. Okay. Let's see what we got going on here. Adam Cole, do boots and bindings made by the same company fit better together? Does the difference even matter? Yes. So generally, when you get a company that does what we call triple threat, which is board boot binding, they design their boots to specifically work with their bindings. They fit in there better. They're designed around specific boots to specific bindings so that they match up and the flex will match and it's a uniformed fit. When you start using different bindings with different boot companies, and cross-pollinating like that, sometimes they don't fit in there exactly right. Like sometimes the boot isn't wide enough, so there's a little sloppy side-to-side play in there, or the heel cup doesn't quite fit and you get push points on there and it starts to rub the binding. I mean, realistically, that's how they design everything. I'm not saying that everything is that way. All right, let's see. Jason Nick 85 had to leave early on your first stream. Not sure if he answered. Is there a discontinued all mountain board that you still find yourself thinking about and wanting to ride because it was so good? If there is, I can't think of it right now. So that ought to pretty much tell you with that. To me, I don't want to live in the past like a lot of these guys. They're like, look, I've got a 20-year-old snowboard that I still ride. I don't like living. Nostalgia is great, don't get me wrong, but I don't like living in the past. So there's that. Let's see what we got going on here. Marco Figueroa, Rides Pig series. What's your personal favorite? Super Pig. Super Pig is my favorite. Like, I'm not a big fan of the Twin Pig or the Mountain Pig. Mountain Pig's too stiff. Twin Pig is just like, meh. War Pig was awesome when it came out, but Super Pig is like the best of all worlds in one board. So, yeah. Goofy Rider Shep, why doesn't a Burton Ion size 10 fit in a Rome Targa large, extra large at the heel from 10 years ago? Did the bindings get smaller or the Burton boots got bigger? Why the hell are you riding a 10-year-old Targa? First of all, I mean, those had a different mold in them too, but um, I want to say like that if you shrink the heel cup down, it should have fit, but it might just be something to do with Burton's footprint technology not fitting in there because a 10 should fit more like a 9. So let's see. Drew Wisner with the super chat. Thanks for all your hard work. Pulled the trigger on a Storm Chaser and got to ride 12 inches of pow this morning. It was everything I'd ever dreamed. Recommend the best bang for the buck, aggressive binding to put on it. Best bang for the buck in an aggressive binding. Right now, this weekend, you should be actually seeing stuff for sale, like 60% off on Evo, Backcountry, the house, shit like that. Well, don't buy from Backcountry. They suck. But unless you really absolutely have to. I mean, but I would personally probably put like a Now Drive on there, really give you something with power, or maybe like a Burton Genesis X, or God, what's that one that's stiffer than that? Or you might be able to pick up like an old, like a last year's Ride Capo or a Rome Targa from last year. Those would be kind of the 4 I would look at. Or actually, you know what's probably blowing out on sale right now is the K2 Formula C, which is the Formula Carbon, which is ultra stiff. They only made it for 1 year. So if you can find one in your size, I'm going to bet that thing's probably selling for like $150 right now. So let's see. Let's see what else we got here. Monkey Magic. Do I need to sharpen the edges on a brand new snowboard? How often do I need to sharpen the edges? 2-week vacation coming up. No, brand new out the wrapper. That thing's fine. If anything, you probably need to detune the tip and the tail a little bit. Take a file, kind of take some of that edge bite off. The big thing that you want to do with a snowboard to check the edge is, so you take your thumb and you put it on the edge and you rub it back and forth. And if it shaves the first layer of your fingernail just a little bit, like it's like shaving it, it's still sharp. If it's dull, it feels round or anything like that, that's when you want to sharpen it. Let's see. M. Bergflot, best micro camber board out there, looking at the DWD Mate or the Academy Propa Camba. Honestly, like my favorite micro camber board is actually the DC Ply. They claim it's like full camber, but I think it's only like 3 millimeters, so it's pretty mellow. That one or the Interior Plane Project Haro. I would personally probably go with the Mate over the Propa Camba. The Propa Camba is going to be a little more damp, just with the way the construction is on that, unless you're looking for something with a more damp ride. But it sounds like if you're going micro camber and you're looking at a DWD, you probably want something that's got a little bit more pop to it. So, yeah, hopefully that answers that. Let's see. What else we got going on here? Steve Tinsley, thoughts on DPS Phantom. Is that the Glide formula or whatever they got going on? Because if that's the case, the Glide formula, I think it works. If you're talking about like DPS making those bindings and shit, that might be not my cup of tea. I don't really pay too much attention to ski brands like that, even though they try to say they're making like backcountry hard boots and shit. So yeah. Oh, let's see what else we going on here. I think I missed a question up here. Oh, Rop Penzo. I can get a secondhand old Signal rocker cheap. Is it a shipboard? It's not a shipboard. It's just got so much fucking rocker to it. I mean, that thing bends at like a 45-degree angle. There is an insane amount of lift in that board. If you're looking for like the most lazy to butter board, like lean back and your board is like tail blocking, sure. But other than that, that board is questionable at best. Let's see what else we got going on here. Funk Farmer now drives versus Recon's. Biggest difference in your opinion on what's better for a hard charging carver who digs steeps and trees? The Recon is softer flexing than the drives. So the drives would be better for hard charging. You're going to notice that there's more power in there. So if you really want to charge hard, it's drives or O drives. The Recons are more like an all mountain binding. Oh, let's see. Let's see what's going on. Ty Gaidri. I'm currently riding an Arbor Foundation, looking for something stiffer, all mountain for carving and powder. 6 foot, 250 size 11 boot. Thanks. Oh, you got plenty of options. So like the Foundation is a really entry level reverse camber, or I think they make it in camber too. Board, but it's super soft flexing. So anything will boost up. If you stick with Arbor, I would look at like the Element as the next logical progression, especially if you're looking for all mountain for carving and powder, or maybe even go to and I don't think the shot. No, you don't want the Shiloh. Or maybe you could even go with like the Iguchi Pro. That might be another one from Arbor. Otherwise, I would say maybe you want to check out something like what is it? You could go with the T-Rice Pro from Libtech. Make sure you get like the 61.5 rod, the pointy tip, not the blunt tip. That would be one. Capita Black Snowboard of Death or the Warp Speed, although the Warp Speed would probably fit you better because it's designed for a heavier rider and for a bigger foot. You could go with like a Ride Berserker would be another one as well. So that should give you a few options there. Marco Figueroa with the super chat. Yo, fuck Vertica. Never entertained this brand. No, that shit's straight garbage. It's Fisher Price outerwear. Fuck that shit. You didn't even need to super chat to have me tell you that. Fuck that shit. It's whack. It's owned by a guy named David Lesh. That's a fucking trust fund little piece of shit that's been on a lot of reality shows. Fuck that kid. Okay. Bottled and Cork with the $5 super chat. If I wear an Angry Snowboard jacket and ride with you in California, is that like wearing the band's shirt to see them play? I don't want to be that guy. Don't be that guy. I don't know. You could ask Bruce, our old intern, who I gave actually a collared version of the maroon coach's jacket. It's a 1 of 1. I gave it to him, and he wore it all day yesterday while we were shredding, which is pretty funny. But like realistically, I don't even wear my own stuff most of the time. But you do you, bud. Let's see what we got here. Michael Hall, Lago double barrel or wire directive for an all mountain freestyle board for the $1. I saw the wire directive made your top 5 and haven't seen a recent review of the double barrel. Nothing's changed in the double barrel. That's, and I quote exact words from the guy that designed it and works at the factory. That hasn't changed, so there's no reason for me to ride it. So that review still holds up. I mean, I've noticed that you can get like last year's ones usually for like $200 or $250, so that's a really good deal. I mean, if I had to choose, I'd probably go with either of them realistically, but if it came down to price, I'd go with the double barrel. Plus, the double barrel actually has an asymmetrical side cut. They don't really talk about that much. Let's see. What do we got going on here? Puyan AZ. Hey, Angry, I got a Libtech Orca and looking for an all-mountain freestyle board for riding groomers and hitting jumps. Which one of the Yes Greats or Never Summer Prototype 2 or anything else? God, both of those boards are just so mediocre at best. Ugh. Really? Those are your two choices? Oh, God, dude, no. You could do so much better than that. First choice, Capita Simulator. That would replace the Greats. You got an asymmetrical side cut on it, and it's cambered. You can ride that around the mountain if you have to. It's going to be decent on jumps. It's going to have snap and pop and be playful. Otherwise, if you wanted something more like the Prototype 2 with that hybrid camber, that RC camber that they have, you'd want to go with something from Mervin. I would probably recommend the GNU Finest. Those would be the two boards, and you can find a review for each of those in the playlist, the Snowboard Reviews playlist, or the GNU playlist and the Yes playlist. But those would be the two board, or not the Greats, the Capita playlist. Yeah, sorry. Got a little bit ahead of myself there. Well, let's see. Let's see what's going on here. I think I missed a questioner here. Let's see. James Styles. REI is selling last year's Westmark rocker for $300. I have mostly camber boards, but looking for something playful to rock around to fuck around with from time to time. I'm between this and the box scratcher. Both are solid choices. The box scratcher will be a lot softer and it has more reverse camber to it with that BTX. You'll notice it. I also think that the Westmark rocker has better edge grip just with that grip tech underfoot. Plus, for $300, that's a fucking steal. So, Andre Besta. Is the Arbor Brian Iguchi Pro Camber 2018 with Union Force a good combination? It'll get the job done, that's for sure. So I think that's a solid choice. I mean, I might bump up to, like, if you're doing Union, maybe do an Atlas or something maybe a little bit stiffer. But yeah, that's pretty solid. So yeah. Let's see what we got going on here. Banana pants. I switched to North Face outerwear this year. My core friends make fun of me, but the stuff actually rules. What's your preferred outerwear brand for riding? I pretty much have only ridden L1 outerwear for 15 years. I got, like, there was a year I went to Holden, and that shit literally disintegrated in about 30 days. So, and all the zippers broke. It was really whack. And then I got one piece of Air Blaster, which is the Dynoflage vest, which I needed a vest for the spring. So I got that, but pretty much only ride L1. And just so everyone knows, L1 is Nitro's outerwear company. It stands for Lucas Huffman 1. He helped design it about 17 years ago, I guess. At this point, back when he was pro for Nitro. It's got like more of a street fit to it, so it's a little more tailored. And I really like it. They have like very basic stuff all the way up to high-end technical, but I've always liked the fit of it. So yeah. Ooh, Alexander W. What budget bindings for Ride Mountain Pig? I would probably pick up like the Ride Limiteds, or it's not the EX. There's one above it, or maybe like a last year's set of Rodeos. That would really match up well with that. Otherwise, right now there's a lot of online stores are blowing out their last year's inventory, and they're offering up to 60% off. So, I mean, if you hop on Evo or House or snowboards.com or Christie Sports or any of those, or anything that we put in the affiliate links on the reviews, and check it out, I think you could pick up a last year's. I mean, I would consider putting like some formulas from K2 on there, maybe like a lean AT, but leave the heel block in so it's a little bit stiffer, or some Now drives as well. Water bottle. Favorite shred film of this year? Actually, tomorrow's big project is to sit down and watch all the snowboard movies while I work on other projects. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I really haven't watched anything much this year. I've watched some clips of stuff that my friends were in, and that's about it. So, yeah. Let's see. Philippe, Union Contact Pro or Force to go with a Solomon Huck knife? I'd go with the Force over the Contact Pro. You're going to get more surface area on the binding, which is going to let you just have more drive instead of it just being on a smaller disc and with that much foam, so it's floating around on there. Let's see. What else we got going on here? New Renaissance. Had a long break from snowboarding, got advised Never Summer Peacemaker. What's your take on it, and what should I expect? Get something else and get something else. You're going to get on it, and you're probably used to riding camber if you took a long enough break, and you're going to be like, what the fuck is this camber profile that they have, and why is it so wonkopotamus? And that's kind of it. So, yeah. Okay, what else we got going on here? Let's see. Am I missing something here? Jason Nelson, can you remold a Burton Infinity Ride 4 liner? Yes. You can remold just about any liner. They say up to 10 times. I say for the most part, you never want to do it more than 2 to 3. When you start to get to 4 to 6 times, that shit, 1, it smells funky as fuck, and 2, you're just killing the foam faster. Let's see what else we got going on here. Ooh, Marco Figueroa, Jamie Lynn Mayhem short wad, novelty or legit? It has its place. Unfortunately, there's a lot of overlap in the LibTech lineup this year, but I rode the short wide. It was fun. I mean, don't get me wrong. It was fun. I rode it on a great day, a little bit heavier snow where it really started to excel. But there's so many other boards in their line that I would choose over that. So it's like, I think it's just selling off the Jamie Lynn name more than anything. And there's so much overlap from other boards from them that I think, if you're looking for something short and wide, camber dominant to play around with, there's other brands as well that crush it. Let's see, what do we got going on here? White Baker, do you ride the reference stance on boards generally, or do you set your stance the same for all boards of a particular style? For example, all park boards at one stance regardless of size. I don't know. So I know that I need to have a 21.5-inch wide stance so my knees don't hurt. If I go to 22 these days, it tends to hurt a little bit more. And if I go to 21, it feels weird. And I ride 15, -12. That stance is on everything I ride. I do not like tweaking it. It throws off my hip alignment, and it puts weird pressure on my knees. So I just try to be consistent across everything. I don't need reference stance. I know what works for me. Nick asks, hey, Angry, have you had a chance to try the Endeavor Alpha yet? No, I haven't. I talked to the U.S. sales guy who handles the distribution down here and told him that's the #1 board that they need to send me. So I'm hoping that I'll get one here maybe in the next 2-3 months. Like, it'll be a 2021 review, but that is on the list. That board looks phenomenal, by the way. I really want to ride that so bad. Andrew Mock, Union Felcar or Strata binding for a Custom X? I'd go with the Felcar over the Strata. I think that it's going to give you the more power you need for a Custom X, and it's going to be a little bit stiffer. Let's see what else we got going on here. Tony Capilla. Hey, Averin, for charging hard and hitting the bigger features in the park, would you prefer Capita Super DOA, the Outsiders, or Mercury? Oh, believe me, if this was 10 years ago and I still had my knees and could hit a 45-foot jump on the regular, Super DOA all day, I would never question it out of those three. These days, probably the Outsiders would get the job done for me. That Super DOA is highly demanding when you ride it. I actually rode one yesterday. My knees are still feeling it today. That board put me through my paces. Let's see. Young Gersh, how would the Super Pig do for a free ride POW board at Stevens Pass? It would fucking crush it. The only thing that I would say with that, because they do get that coastal heavier, wetter snow up there, you might want to go, like, if you normally would downsize to the 51, you might want to go to the 54 just per se, because it'll give you a little bit more stability and be a little bit stiffer. Other than that, that board would be really awesome off Seventh Heaven or down underneath the cliff drops in the early season on Hogsback, or getting into that valley, heading over to the terrain park, or going and hitting Tie Rock with it as well. I think that board would crush it. If I still lived in the Northwest, I would definitely own a Super Pig. Let's see what else. Let's see. Jovan Milednovic. Best budget bindings to go with the Nitro Quiver Squash. I would put something a little more surfy on that, so I'd probably go with, was it the K2 lineup, which is the softer lean now, or it's the price point one. I think it's $30 cheaper or something, or $40 cheaper. I think. Don't quote me on that, because I'm not looking at stats off the top of my head right now, but I think that would be a good one. Otherwise, if you really wanted to go with something surfy, you could probably do the new Burton Mission binding as well. They really revamped that, and it's it's like this weird thing with it. Like Kevin and I were talking about it. It's almost like when they brought the clutch out, which the Burton clutch would be another one, which I see they're re-releasing that. But the new Mission, it's got a bunch of different technology in it this year. It's like one binding. They're kind of throwing some stuff at. So that might be another one there. Elliot George, gun to your head. Work for Good Ride for the rest of your career or ride a Gilson snowboard for the rest of your life? I'd commit seppuku. I would stick a knife into my stomach, slit it open, my intestines would fall out, and I would bring honor back to my family. Because let's be real, if I went to work for the Good Ride, I'd outshine James. He'd probably fire me because he couldn't handle the fact that I know more than him. And I would actually, let's be real, I'd go to work for the Good Ride. I'd usurp all the power from James, run him out of his own company, dominate it, crush it back down, reopen angry. As for Gilson, who gives a fuck? They probably won't be in business in another year or two. Let's see. Let's see what's going on here. Jeff DeMoose 776. Rosnell Jibsaw versus Retox for a quiver of one board in the Midwest. I do most ride in the park, jibbing and jumps. I'd probably go with the Jibsaw just because then you get magna traction with it. So you're going to have better edge hold for those icy days. The Retox doesn't grip as well, even though it's straight camber. But I would probably push more to the Jibsaw. Plus, with that cam rocker in there, you can really butter the shit out of the nose and tail of that. Yep. Cy Voigt, does the factory a board is made in affect the ride quality? If so, which is the best race? Yes. So Kevin and I have actually talked about this on numerous podcasts, but there's distinct differences you can see just even based on geographical regions. So versus America versus Dubai versus Austria versus China, stuff like that. You can see the differences in there. But when it comes down to factory quality overall, like when you start looking at things like even in China, if you compare Mausen to Playmaker to SBF to GP87 to Titan and God, what's that one other one that's just straight ass? You can see the difference. You can tell. What the big thing is it comes down to generational labor in any factory. And if they actually have like a skilled laborer working versus unskilled laborers, you can see the differences in that. Like if we're talking American made, I think the best American made is Marhar, hands down, even though they have limitations with it, but they always look better quality wise from it. And I always feel like they retain their pop better than stuff from Mervyn or Never Summer. But if we're talking like solid finish, I think that Mothership has a good one. The Nobly factory does. The Kyle factory, especially over in Austria, does really well. SWS in Dubai has some great stuff. In China, I would always prefer GP87 over anyone else. And every one of those boards has a different characteristic. Like if you, like realistically, if you could take the same mold to every factory and have them make it with their construction method and how they do everything and put them side by side, you would notice the differences drastically. Andrew Davison, hey, everyone, wondering if this year's Huck knife is the same as previous years or have they messed with it? Now there's the Pro version. No, so the Huck knife still stays the same. The Pro version is just premium ingredients in it, realistically. So it's a higher end base, higher end fiberglass, and there's just like one other thing I think as well. Okay, what else we got going on here? British, how is the Burton Hometown Hero? That was stiffer than I thought it was going to be. Like the way they explained it to me, I was like, oh, this is like downgraded flight attendant, a little more zippy, and should really be able to drive into it. It was stiffer than I thought. It's quick edge to edge. Like cannot deny that. That board rails turns and you feel locked in when you're on it, but it was stiffer, way stiffer than I thought it was going to be. Like I figured it'd be like middle of the road, and it's like noticeably above middle of the road. Okay. Yep. Raul Duke with the $5 super chat. If you are what you eat, I'm a turkey. Get out there and shred for Jake. I did shred for Jake the day he died. I rode the Hometown Hero that day, and it snowed the whole day that I was out there. So you can be the turkey. I just ate turkey and ham, so I guess I'm both. All right. Let's see what we got here. Richard Price got a Goliath 164 wide charging with Nitro teams and a Magic Carpet 156 with Nitro Zeros. Nitros fit my Northway boots best. TBT isn't my friend on ice. Any camber boards with edge tech I should like? Oh, we got plenty there, bud. We got plenty. So you could go check out anything from Jones in their freeride series. You could even look at the Mountain Twin for their all mountain freestyle series. That will have some serious edge grip. Any of the freeride specific boards from Mervin that have C3, those also grip exceptionally well. So any of the knife series in there, like Hot Knife, E-Jack Knife, Swiss Knife, those three really stand out for it. Arbor's Grip Tech as well does do a good job of steering right underfoot and really locking in with their cambered system. So you got options out there. You could also check out Rosinal. So something like maybe the 1LF or the Angus, like those two boards right there as well. Monkey Magic, when's the review coming for Super DOA? Do you prefer it over the Mercury? Super DOA, maybe next week. I got to finish the binding reviews and stuff. Like tomorrow's a marathon day of working on reviews and a few other projects that I want to get done. So, and plus I still have 2 top 5s for today that I was going to do, but I think I'm going to pass on that. It's been a long week and I can do whatever the fuck I want. I'm my own boss. Do I prefer the Mercury over the Super DOA? No. Super DOA is too much board for me to ride regularly. That would be a board if I owned it. I would bust it out for certain days with riding with certain friends because that's the style of riding we do when we get together. Like yesterday was the perfect day to test it. I got to ride with Brucey, my old intern, and man of 1,000 stickers that everyone knows. Like Brucey got to ride with this guy. Which means you ride fast, hard, aggressive, and you're on edge, and you jump off everything in your path. And if you would land on something, you either kill it or snap it in half, or you explode and die. And it was a perfect board for riding with him. But for me personally, a Mercury would be like my everyday driver. Let's see. What else we got going on here? Emmy Lim wanted to say thank you so much for doing the top 5 women's as well this year. Yes, there was a lot of demand actually from women snowboarders of the internet for us to do that. So I did a whole bunch of research and really dove deep to make those happen. So it was a lot of talking with women from shops, talking to different shops, seeing what was selling, going to a few demos, seeing what boards were going out, talking to my reps, seeing what was moving for them so that we could come up with that so it wasn't like lists whipped out of our asses. So I'm really glad that you guys are getting something from that. Hopefully by next year we'll actually have a women's tester and they'll be handling women's top 5s. So I'm really hoping that that's something we could do for you. Yep. Let's see. And you are getting hidden. All right. Got rid of that spam bot. Tyler Henson, currently riding an 1819 Capita Black Snowboard of Death, Felcars, and DC Judge boots. I was thinking about picking up the Super DOA as a twin all-mountain charger. A little worried it caught up in the hype, though. If you're looking for a twin all-mountain charger, something for like really pushing it and high-end, that's the board from Capita. Like that's literally the board from Capita for what you're describing. That's actually, it's kind of funny. When I was finishing up filming the review for that today, that's pretty much how I described it for the rider that it's for. All right. Joe Roche, hey, I've had 2 Solomon delaminate in the past few years and seen it on friends' boards last 2 years. So much so I've moved away from Solomon. Heard anything about this issue? Just a few isolated cases. See, that's the thing is, like, I haven't heard anything, but if you get a batch of boards that were in the same production run that have the same issues and they got shipped to the same area, it becomes like this isolated area, but where everyone sees it happen. It reminds me of the early 2000s or so. The Capita Stairmaster Extreme was pressed in Austria, and they there was a production run where they forgot to put the glue on the top sheets, so the top sheets would just peel right off on it. And it happened to a few Romes, but Capita was like the one that it was notorious for. And it was funny because the Rome ones, it was like such an isolated area. It only happened in like a tri-state area on the East Coast for most of the people. So I don't really know. I haven't heard anything from my friends, but you can't really rule anything out. Joe Nichols. Hi, dude. Love the content. With the K2 party platter, would you recommend downsizing? I was going to be taking it in the park and then be able to carve when just riding them on. It's designed to be downsized. Like, I'm 200 pounds and rode the 152, and that's the size I would ride in that. Like, that thing was amazing. I probably could have even gone smaller if I wanted to. I just think the 52 was exactly where I needed it to be. All right. Let's see what's going on here. Simon Soltech. Soltech. Hey, Averin, have a LibTech Orc and a Burton Custom. What else could I add to my quiver? I would add like a free ride board, like an all mountain free ride, like a Jones Flagship or an Aviator, maybe a Capita Black Snowboard to Death, possibly like a K2 Manifest, something in that range where it's like charging board that you can go out and rip like those crusty groomers in the early morning in the spring, and then just smash the mashed potato chow in the afternoon. Drew Weisner with the $5 super chat. Story time about a snowboard that exploded or dealer's choice of a story. Well, I can tell you about the time. It was the first year that Burton came out with the fix, so it had that scoop in it and everything. And this is like right when reverse camber and shit was coming out. And they set me up at Breckenridge during Dew Tour, and they're like, yeah, man, this will be like a good park board. You'll be able to go butter on it, whatnot. And I was like, okay. And I was arguing with the guy over binding sizes, and he kept telling me I had to be in a large. And I was like, no, dude, I think the medium's going to fit me better. And he put me in the large, so the bindings were too big, but I got off 5 chair at Breck, and I was cutting over to go to Freeway. Like, and this is before you would come into Park Lane and then cut over. You could come in through the top. I did a front side 180, and I was going to land on my nose and do a nose roll. I landed on the nose, heard a crack, buttered it around, looked down, and the whole top sheet, like the whole board, spiderwebbed. Whole thing, like from the ICS channel out, just spiderwebbed across that nose. And I was like, well, okay, that's fucking wonky. So I took it into the Freeway and went into the half pipe. Did like one air. I got like 2 feet out of the super pipe. Took it a little too hard into the transition. Landed on the tail and just heard a crack and looked back, and the whole top sheet on the tail, the whole thing just spider webbed in one run. That was a brand new board out of the wrapper, and just went back, and I was like, this board's a hunk of shit. It broke. I get it that it was a gloss top sheet, and so the lacquer probably didn't cure right, and it was a super cold day that day, but it fucking, that board sucked to begin with, but I obliterated it right there. Slasher, what boards to look at to replace a Jones Aviator? Looking for something more aggressive and freeride centric. Overpowered, a 160 Aviator at times. North Vermont, 210 pounds, size 11 boot. If you can find an Ultra Aviator, I'd go that route, or maybe like the Ultra Mountain Twin. You might like the Capita Super DOA. You might like the Ride Berserker, and I know my review of it's less than favorable, but talking with Ride, we figured out that I got one that was built wrong, so I need to re-review that, but because I should have really liked that. But yeah, like a Ride Berserker, maybe a K2 Joy Driver, but that might be overkill, so maybe a K2 Manifest instead. Let's see what else we got going on here. David Barnes, does there have to be a constant arc between the bindings, or can the side cut be shifted toward one binding, non-symmetrical? I say this because my bindings set at my width in a more twin setup on my big city doesn't look quite right. Are you talking like you have one binding set more towards the toe edge and one more towards the heel edge? Because you don't want that. You want them to be even on both, and you want your boot to end up being centered on the board as well, so that way there's equal toe and heel on there, so you don't have like one side favoring the other. Yeah. Josu, hey man, what do you think of shred soles for wide, flatter feet? From what I know about shred soles, they tend to have a little bit more arch. I think if you're looking for something with a flatter foot, the Remind insoles are a little bit better, but not the. Which one is it? Is it the? It's. I think it's the Cush, not the Medic has a lower one, and I know the Destin has even less arch support. And I'm trying to think. I've got a set sitting over here, but they're Medics. I think those are the ones with the higher arch, and I'm. All right. Well, hopefully that answers that. And Joseph DeSico. Hey, Averin. I'm an intermediate rider that's going to start park riding. I'm looking at getting Yes Jackpot or Solomon Huck Knife. What's best for beginner park? Thanks. Get the Jackpot. Get the Jackpot. That's going to make you a stronger rider with the way that camber profile is on there and the side cut. I think it's going to grip so much better. Honestly, like, it was such a tough choice choosing on my top 5 park boards for 2020 between the Simulator and Jackpot because they're both so fucking good. But yeah, if those are your 2 options, Jackpot for sure. Okay. Fatman Scoot, looking to replace my 17 War Pig, which was my quiver of one board. Riding styles changed to more carving and hit and side hits than park. Super Pig, Simple Pleasures, Backslash, or Rome Ravine. Simple Pleasures is great for carving. Side hits, not my favorite cup of tea. On that Backslash, fun, but I think your 2 best choices would be Ravine and Super Pig. I feel like since you're saying you're hitting more side hits than park, probably Super Pig over Ravine. But either of those boards you couldn't go wrong with. I'd figure out which one you can get a better deal on, and you'll be solid. Let's see. Tom T, will you ride the Rome black labels for everything from now? Yes. I have 2 pairs of black labels, and there should be a 3rd set showing up next month. That will give me 3 pairs, which is what I need for product testing. So that will become my new binding of choice. I know it's kind of ironic to go from a K2 Indy that I gutted with some formula straps to the top of the line Rome binding. So I'm going from the second lowest end K2 binding to the top of the line Rome binding. But yes, I will be going 100% towards that. So let's see what's going on here. I feel like I'm missing some questions here. Maybe not. All right, what's going on? Grant Denny, all mountain freestyle board for 230 pounds, size 13 boot. Last board was a smokin' super park. Go check out a Jones Mountain Twin wide. I think that would be one of the better ones. If not, you may like the Arbor Element wide as well. Those would be kind of the 2 I think I'd steer you towards right now. All right, Josu, Orca and Super Pig in my quiver. You said too much overlap. Want to elaborate? Appreciate your time and opinion. Yeah, so those boards are pretty much interchangeable in my opinion. The Orca is a little more damp of a ride, not as lively. It's also a little more playful between the feet, but realistically, you could swap out either one for riding POW and crushing a groomer if you had to. I think like right there, you're going to end up with those 2, and you're not going to ride them equal time. You're going to end up favoring one over the other, and that's just how it is. Like personally, what I would have done is dumped one of those and gotten something that complements it, like whether that being go more freestyle focused or more free ride focus. But that would have been me. So yeah. Let's see what else is going on here. S2. Wait, where'd that go? Just lost one. Where'd that go? Shit, I had a question. Where did that go? Oh, well, I'll go down here. Emmy Lim with the super chat. Found a good deal on the GNU Ladies' Choice. Have you heard anything about it? Spend most of my time learning carves and butters on intermediate runs. So the Ladies' Choice is the women's rider's choice. So it's a little bit stiffer. It's a little bit beefier of a board. It does have an asymmetrical side cut. So for carving, that thing would be solid. Buttering, you're looking at like working a little bit harder. You got to get your weight out more over the tips. But it does. I think it's It's either C2 or C2X on that profile, I think. I don't think it's C2E, but so you do have that advantage of the reverse camber between the feet, so you can like lean back and be in a press and lean forward as well. If personally, if you're looking at GNU for what you're describing, I'd probably go with the Velvet over that, but that's just me for my recommendation to you. Let's see, where'd that question go I was looking at? Here we go. S2000 guy, what aftermarket insole are you currently running in your boots? I've got a Remind Cush in my boots right now that I think this will be the last season that footbed will get play in my boots, and then I'll be swapped out to another new one from them again. But I pretty much always run Reminds. I find that they're the best ones for my foot shape, and this is coming from having tons of custom ones built for me, but this one the Remind always just seem to fit my foot the best, and I always feel them like the most comfortable in them. What else we got going on here? Rope Penzo. I see a lot of people online recommending Kinko pigskin leather mittens. Have you tried them? And if yes, do you like them? I've put my hands in them. Like for me, there's something about them that I don't like the feel of them, but I know a lot of people that rip them for everything. And I mean, for the price, Kinko's definitely seem to last longer and seem to be better for anyone that really lives in the mountains. So I think they're solid, but for me personally, they just don't fit the way I would want them to. So yeah. Okay. Let's see. All right, Tom T. Story from back in the day. What one board quiver did you ride for the longest? The board I probably had the longest was the Custom Secret Agent from like 98, 99, around there. It had the James Bond. There's like the James Bond graphic, the shaft graphic and stuff. I had that in a 152. I think I rode that thing for like 3 years. I rode it. I got that. When did I get that? My junior year of high school, and I think I rode that through my first year of being out of high school until I ruptured my spleen. I don't think I was riding that board when I ruptured my spleen, though. I think I was riding my Burton Dragon by then. But yeah, that was one of the boards I rode the longest. Then I had a Type A Mark Morris set that I rode. I still have it, but I rode that thing into the ground. Typically, most boards, I get a season at max out of them, and then they're whumped to piss. Lately, though, my boards seem to last longer because I'm reviewing more products these days. So, yeah, that's kind of it. Let's see what else we got going on here. Adam Cole, what company is the hardest to work with? Any interesting stories? There's a lot I don't want to talk about. Bullshit, but probably one of the hardest to work with is Burton. Like, there's always someone new in some new position, and they make me jump through hoops to get anything. So now I've just started riding Burton products from the local shops and bribing them with beer to let me take demos. That one. I can remember certain companies telling me that they would never work with me, and now they work with me, which is always funny. Just to see, I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that I've never been like, people be like, why didn't you review this? I was like, that company won't respond to its emails. Then they flood the email box, and then they're like, here's some boards. So, yeah, Burton's always a pain in the dick to deal with. Never Summer is especially difficult. Those guys, I don't want to work with them. I just don't want to work with them anymore. They kind of burned the bridge with me, threw me under the bus for some stuff, and tried to blame me for having a product tester that decided that he wanted to freak out and join ISIS. So, yeah, when a white dude named Scott suddenly changes his name to Mohammed Akbar or Muhammad or whatever and says that he's fighting for ISIS and the Islamic State for whatever reason, but he's a snowboard enthusiast and he's a product tester. That man, it's fucking out there. But yeah, that guy was whew. The weird part is he's got a pilot's license and he's licensed to drive hazardous material. Not really someone you want with ISIS in this country as a U.S. citizen. But, probably just got this whole video demonetized by talking about this, but whatever. Yeah, that was fucking out there. So, yeah. Paul Dagano, looking at picking up a Jones Storm Chaser. I'm 6'1", 200 pounds, and can't decide between the 52 or 57. Would downsizing to the 52 be a mistake considering my weight? I mean, I wouldn't do it. Um, that board is so specialized, and everyone's like, it's volume shifted. And I was like, yeah, but it's not when you want to downsize on, because that thing is a chore to get edge to edge to begin with. Like, I mean, I would personally wouldn't ride the 52 at 200 pounds. I'd ride the 57. Okay. John Omler. The NSA has joined the chat. Well, why not? They're listening in on my iPhone right now anyways. So who cares? All right. All right. S2000 guy. Unfortunately, Vans doesn't make a boot that fits my needs, but the Vans factory Pop Cush V3 insole is unreal. Thinking about picking up a pair and putting them in my Solomons. I mean, if you believe it, anytime I've looked at their footbeds, I mean, they're okay. They're not mind-blowing in terms of technology and stuff. They are working in the right direction. If you think it'll work, do it. Guarantee you can find someone that has a set that would just give them to you because they're going to put some aftermarkets in there. So, yeah. So let's see what else is going on. I feel like I'm missing a question, but I'm probably not. Let's see. Let's see. What else we got going on here? I'm not really seeing any questions that I need to touch on, but I'm going to be here for about 4 more minutes and then dip out because we've got the Angry Late Night at 9 p.m. tonight, Mountain Standard Time. So if you've never tuned into Angry Late Night, a lot more stories, anecdotes, and shit talking than Q&As. And those go from anything from like an hour to 3 hours long of me just talking out my ass, which blows my mind all the time that you guys find that stuff interesting. Also, if you haven't picked up any Angry Snowboarder merchandise like the coach's jacket or one of these hoodies here, you can swing over to angrysnowboarderstore.com right now. There is a limited run of apparel. That sale will be going through Cyber Monday. I'd really like to just sell through everything I've got over there because, frankly, I need the money because I work for myself now and I don't have a cushion anymore. But yeah, so you can do that. Plus, we got a bunch of the Snowboarding Culture's Not Dead stickers over there for sale, plus die cuts and whatnot. So swing over there. There's no deals for Black Friday because the margins were so low to begin with. Like, I'm not really making much profit on them, but I wanted to get that stuff out for you guys. So yeah, check that out. Let's see. S2000s guy. I'm going to 8 Basin and Copper January 8th through the 15th. If I see you, I'm going to yell, hey, look, it's James Beastie. Well, he'll be there, what, fucking the end of the month. It doesn't matter. You can yell it. I probably won't even hear you because my headphones are in and I'm in the zone, Chief. Like, yesterday, a bunch of people were asking me to take their photo when I got off the chairlift. One, they're standing right in the fucking way of everyone, so they're fucking idiots to begin with. And two, I don't want to touch their fucking phone. It might have a disease on it. I don't know where the fucking thing's been. Plus, I have to take my gloves off to hit the button. So they're doing that. So I just look at them as like, do a little fake sign language. People think you're deaf and you can go on your way. It's amazing. I love it. Sorry to my deaf friends that I do that to. All right. So Luke TRC, no experience on the Cask. Looking for a decent overall volume shift for Ice Coast riding. 6'3", 210, size 12. Prefer something camber dominant. Other options appreciate. You don't want the Cask. Kevin has ridden that. Like, he's ridden it enough. We could do a review. We're just kind of like sitting back waiting. But he's like, that thing is like deep days only. If you're really serious about looking for something camber dominant, Marhard Lumberjack, you could do the K2 Party Platter, the Ride War Pig, or the Super Pig. Those would be so much better than the Cask. All right. Kevin Chow. Any news for Signal reviews? They sent Kevin a WOW, so we've got a WOW that we could ride at some point. I got to reach back out to Mark over there. I'm just drowning in work over here. Plus, I got to start thinking about getting the 2021 stuff, which it's weird to think that I'll start seeing 2021 snowboards in like 45 days. So realistically, like 60 till I start getting the bulk of them. So Signal's on the list of trying to get stuff from. All right. Adam Cowell, how much do you think it would cost to get 10 boards custom made at the mothership? Needs 3BT. I don't even know if the molds are still there for them to do it. Plus, you have to have a licensing agreement from Battalion. My guess is if you're trying to get 3BT, you're probably going to have to go to SWS to get that done. 10 boards, that's who that manufacturer's asking quantity is so low. You're at cost. You're probably paying like grounded, depending where you're shipping it to, 380 would be my guess per board. All right. Okay. What's up? Did I miss one in here? No, I think that's kind of everything right now. So I'm going to call it a day for this live stream. I'm going to go take a nap or go to the gym and take a nap. I don't know, whatever feels more productive. But anyways, I'll be back at 9 p.m. tonight for all you guys to answer your questions, tell you stories of tales of the past of snowboarding and weird fucked up shit that I've done. If you haven't swung over to angrysnowboarderstore.com, do check that out. If you're buying something online, remember to click the affiliate links down below any of the product review videos that we've got going on. And I'll see you guys at 9 tonight.